Hi guys, in this video I'll show you a small example of MVC. Let's just quickly get into this video. Let me just create a project first. We'll create a normal dynamic web project. Let me just name it as MVC Example, and next, and make sure that you select on generate web.xml deployment descriptor and select finish. So our project has been created. Okay, let me just first add an index page which will be our main page. Okay, I'll just name it as index and I'll hit finish. So the first thing that I require is a form. Okay, and I will write action and I'll close it. Now inside this form we will have two things. The first thing will be the name. So name will be input type text, and the name of this thing I will keep it as name as well. Now after I've put the name, I'll also take the age and I will write the same thing again, and the name of this thing I'll keep it as age. Now after that we need to submit this form. Input type equals submit. Okay, once we have created this form, we need to submit a request once we hit submit. So we will send it through the action and I'll just write it as welcome, for example. Okay, now once the JSP file has been created, we need to, this request will go to the XML file first. So if you remember, we selected generate XML file while creating the project. This is the file, this one. I'll just double click on it. We'll go to source, and over here the first thing that we will add is the servlet. Okay, I'll write servlet. So there are two things in servlet that we require. The first thing is servlet name, and the next thing will be, so the servlet name can be anything. I'll just write it as ABC, and the servlet class will be the class which is our controller. So for example, in this thing I'll write slash controller, and here I'll write the second thing that we need to have is the servlet mapping. Now inside servlet mapping also the first thing will be the servlet name, servlet name. The servlet name will be the same thing as this one, and the next thing that we need to do is add the URL pattern. Now keep in mind this thing should be the same as this thing, because this helps us connect this URL pattern to this controller. Now your URL pattern will be the same as we have written in the index page, which is welcome. So I'll write welcome over here. Okay, and here it will be /. I'm sorry about that. So once we have created this much, the servlet has also been created. Now the request will come from our JSP page to the web.xml file, and this request will go to this controller. Now we need to create a controller. A controller will be nothing but our class. Just give me a moment, I'll just create a class. Okay, inside src first I'll create a package. Let me just create com.mvc, and inside this package I'll create a class called as controller. Okay, this will be a controller, and over here in the web.xml file I'll write com.mvc. so this will go to the proper location. Now we can go to the controller, and in the controller the first thing that we need to do is we will make it as a servlet. Okay, I'll write extends HTTP servlet. Now for the HTTP servlet to work, we need to import the Java X library inside it. Just give me a moment. Yeah, and within this we will override a method public void service, and within this I'll pass two parameter HTTP servlet request HTTP servlet response. Okay, so after creating this method, what we'll do is, the first thing that we need to do is we need to get the parameter over here. Now this parameter we need to fetch it in our controller. So what I'll do is I'll create a string name, and I will get that parameter. I will write a request dot get parameter, and I will write the name of that string. So here I can see, as you can see, that the name of that input is name, and I will write name same over here, and the next one is age. I'll write int age equals to request dot get parameter, and here also I'll write age. Now since I'm getting this error is because there is a type mismatch. It's saying that it cannot convert string to integer. So what we'll do is we'll just pass it. I'll write integer dot parse int, and this should take care of the error. Now after we are done with this, we need to have a model. Now our model will be our class, that an encapsulation that we will use to send the data to another JSP page. So I'll just create a model. I'll write new class, and I'll name it as employee, for example, and I'll write finish. Now this will have two variables, string name and int age. Okay, let me just make it private and private. Now since both of them are private, I'll just add a constructor to add data to these fields. Okay, constructor using fields. Okay, now this will help me add data to these two variables, and I'll just create a toString method as well. Right click, go to source, and then generate toString method. Okay, so our encapsulation class is created. This will be nothing but our model that we will be using to communicate between the JSP page and the controller class. Now since I've got these two data, I'm going to add it to our model. I'll just write employee equals to new employee. Okay, it's giving me an error because it's asking for the arguments. We can just pass it over here. I'll just write the first one is name and the second one is age. Okay, now that we have created an instance of the employee class, we need to add it to the request so that we can send it to JSP page. So I'll write request dot set attribute, and here I'll write model, and here I will pass the employee object. Now keep in mind, this is just for reference. I've written model. You can write anything over here. Just for better understanding, I've written model so that you can understand that this is nothing but a model that we are going to send to the JSP page. Now all we need to do is we need to send the request to the JSP page. So I will be using the request dispatcher equals to request dot get request dispatcher. Now this get request dispatcher will ask for a path where to send the request. So I will send the request. I will send the request to the JSP page. I'll just write rd.forward. We will forward both of them to the JSP page. Now this JSP page we have to create. I'll just create that. Let me just throw the exceptions, the input output exception and the servlet exception. Okay, so now we have got the data, we have put it into the model, and we have passed the model in the request object as well. Now we need to send the request to the welcome.jsp page. We don't have a welcome.jsp page. Let me just go ahead and create that as well. I'll right click on web content, new, and JSP file. I'll write welcome and I'll hit finish. So our welcome page is also created. Now in this we need to get that model. Okay, let me add the scripted tags, and so first thing what I'll do is I'll import the employee so that I can use %@page import, and I will write the location. I'll write com.mvc.employee. Okay, now that I've imported this class, I can use it over here. I can write employee equals request. Now keep in mind we don't have to create a request object over here because JSP by default provides us with request and response objects. So I can directly use it by saying request dot get attribute. Now this attribute that I'm going to get will be the same as our controller, like the model. This name I will get it over there. I'll write model over here, and this should get it. I'm getting an error because it's an object and we need to convert it to employee, so just convert that as well. Okay, now that I've created that, all we need to do is we can just print it. I'll just write welcome over here, and over here I'll just print the object out.print. I'll just write print, and I'll write employee over here. Now this will print the employee because as you guys know that I've created a toString method. This will help us give the string output of this object. Okay, so everything looks fine. Now there is nothing else left to do but to test it out. I'll just right click on it, run as, run on server, next, finish. Okay, so there are two fields. Let me just enter a name. I'll just add SAM Sam, and I'll add the age as 21, and I'll hit submit query. So guys, as you can see, our code is working. We have got welcome, employee, and the name. I've written welcome over here, so welcome is there and the employee is also there, so it's getting a Sam and age. So that's it for this video, guys. If you find it helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel, and a like will be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks, bye.